What's up, fight fans? Your boy P. Welsh here, bringing to you UFC Fight Night from the Apex. Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. Before we start, I'm just going to address the two elephants in the octagon. One, I'm sorry about Kevin Christian pick. That was atrocious, disgusting. And two, no Bulgarian, match, fight fixing, dude. We'll have to start with some facts that the lines, matched. The line movement was drastic. And the result matched it, especially the round one prop. He has ties to, former fight fixing coach. And he was in an interview last week saying he should win some of the bettings. So, he's released from the UFC. Sites are refunding their bets from him. It's very dicey, very bad for the UFC. That being said, I try my best to give you what I think best will happen, even with like potential corrupt judges and commissions. I try not to be too much into that. I had Bulgarian on the bet card anyway, and I'm not. I don't even. It is what it is. So I feel like those things happen over time. That's the risk of gambling that you always take when you if you put your money anywhere like that. So always buyer beware. I think the UFC does have a lot of high integrity athletes, but all it takes is one to really give it a bad name. So we're gonna move on from that, dude, and we're just gonna keep on breaking down the fights, picking some winners. If we pick some losers and they just lose, he's on the record. We picked Bulgarian. He fought, like I'm not even. That's on the record. So that just know that with every pick that is there, even if it's something like that happens, he lost. So let's start here with Jackson McVee middleweight bout against Robert Valentin. McVee 6-1 coming off the loss to Bruno Ferreira, armbar finish in the first round. Robert Valentin off a few losses here. Finished by Guillotin and Loader and lost to Torres Finney. And yeah, this is what do you want here? I thought McVee was gonna start Dumas when they had the fight schedule, but Dumas had to pull out. But that might even have been more of a favor for Dumas than McVee. I think Robert Valentin's pretty tough here. I mean, I just think as long as he doesn't get taken down by Tor, I think he can win on the feet. I mean, this is a disgusting fight to have to like handicap and guys that you want to pick in a way. I think McVee's a slight underdog. But I really have zero confidence in him. I had a little confidence before I had him in the Dumas fight, but he looks very bad for the division, and I think Valentin's at least got a little. I'm always on the guys that are on a worse streak if they're going against one another. Like, I think Robert Valentin is pretty, and arguably he could have won the Torres Finney fight, so it would look a lot different. I think a lot of people are respecting that decision, and if he's not going to get taken down, which I don't think McVee is, like. Let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be on the feet. I think this is a banger on the small octagon. I think somebody's getting served here one way or the other. And that's where I would probably finish it, fight not to go the distance here. But, yeah, I think somebody gets their lights put out early on here. I'm going with Robert Valentin for the win. Next up, bantamweight bout. We got our guy Miles John, 15-4 and 1 no contest, coming off a loss versus Daniel Marcos, 17-1. Coming off a loss, both guys standing 5'7", 1 inch reach advantage for Marcos, 3 inch on the legs, and I think that's where you'll see probably the fight one for Marcos here. I like Marcos by decision, and Miles John's always gonna have these close fights, man. Unless he's gonna take down and dominate Marcos that way, I think that's the only way he can win personally. If he stands there and strikes with Marcos for 15 minutes, I think Marcos is just gonna have some fun. I don't think either of these guys. I want to pick Miles John here. I really think he's on. I thought on the Matsumoto he had a chance to. He's just fighting really good, scrappy fighters that he has to win ways that aren't as flashy as the guys that he's fighting. He wants to win that way, but I just think the guy in the gas tank. Now Marcos lost to Montel Jackson, who I think was a good kind of stylistic matchup. I just think Marcos is better than Miles John in like that stand-up fashion. Like unless Miles John is willing to take down. Got to use those 1.29. I don't think he really is. Maybe, he didn't really do it against Matsumoto because he knows how good Matsumoto's ground game is, so he just decided to stand there. Maybe this is a different test there, but I think Marcos has pretty dang good submission defense too. I think he's very well balanced. Like you say, he's been very good. He just doesn't have that big knockout power, but he does put it on you in volume. He puts it on you in damage. I remember our Ricky Lang fight that he didn't get done. He, just Split against Giannis is kind of like, I mean, it was pretty unanimous to me, and yeah, I just think he does have a chance to get caught here. Miles John, always a live dog, always gonna put up a tough fight. You're never gonna be feeling really good about your fight, but I think Marcos gets the decision win. Again, very sweaty, very greasy, but two bantamweights that I don't really think have that KO power like that. Yeah, and they fought a lot of decisions together. So let's go, Marcos. Next up, a really compelling fight I like. Ranked strawweight bout: Tisha Pennington versus Denise Gomes. Pennington, gotta pull it up here. 15-7, coming off a win. 10-5'1", 60 and a half inch reach, and Denise Gomes 13-11, coming off a win. 5'2", 63-inch reach, and yeah, I think Pennington looked really good in her last fight. I don't think necessarily the competition recently, Pinheiro and Esparza, a couple split decision losses before that. You could argue that she's on a roll here. Very close fights, very competitive, a lot of volume, a lot of energy. And I think that's where she really can excel against Denise Gomes here is in the third round. She's just what happens. I think Gomes is going to take one. I think Pennington takes three, and I just think it's what's going to happen in that middle. I really don't know. It's such a really close fight, and again, it leads to that split decision. I think Pennington has a better chance to put it on her 30-27 and actually, win those 2 rounds consecutively, because if one thing that I've watched with Denise Gomes is it feels like if she can't physically impose herself on the person, she's a little bit tougher to really get going. And also the competition that she's fought, Elise Reed and Carolina Kowalski, like they're not exactly in their primes and exactly at the top of the game. Eduarda Moria, I don't even know. She's looked a little bit better recently, but nothing's still spectacular, right? I think Tisha Pennington has a really good chance to win this fight. I think Tisha Pennington is my pick here. I think she'll win it on the decision. I think the straw weights to finish are really, it's really questionable. If anybody has the finishing upside, it is Gomes. So I like, some avenues like that. But I really do think Pennington's just going to put it on her in terms of just like she's been there with experience. Like, the younger fighters might struggle against the older women fighters, and I think that's just what's going to play out here. I think you'll just see a 3-round kind of nice Pennington performance. I think she's really rounding into gear in her later ages, and I think it's going to be a banger of a fight. It's definitely Gomes can easily win this. I can be completely wrong and look not close, but I don't think that's the case. I think Pennington's pretty dang scrappy, so I'm going to go for the upset here. I'm going for Pennington. I just think just all that experience plays a lot, especially in the 15 minutes is very short, but it's very long because in the terms of fight games, the moments change the fights, and all it takes is a couple of moments to really, stuff something or make things not work for the fight to completely change. Next up, heavyweight bout: Josh Hokit versus Max Giminis, 6-0 Hokus, and yeah, I don't got much to say about this Max Giminis, 6-1. Looks like he, yeah, I don't know. Just gonna pick Hokit here. I think just pray these guys get served first round. 3 KOs, 3 submissions, all finishes for Hokit. And honestly, this could go either way too. I don't have much of a breakdown on this. That's the official pick. He's the favorite. He's got all finishes. He's at least maybe fought some higher level competition across the way. Versus Shogun. I don't really know what Shogun is, but he has a great amateur grappling record. I can't pick heavyweight grapplers at this point in my life. So that's all you could say. Go Ho Kick. Next up, women's bantamweight bout: Myra Bruno Silva, 10-5-1 and 1 no contest versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti, 9-1. 5'6" versus 5'8", 3.5-inch reach for Cavalcanti, 2-inch on the legs, and I think you'll see this trend. I think a little bit in women's MMA is these women that lose the title fights, they just kind of go off the cliff fast. Maybe they were ascended to a title fight, and the loss just kind of deflates them a little bit too much. And I think you saw it kind of with Grasso, you saw it with somebody else, but I think Myra Bruno Silva is on that same accord. I think Cavalcanti's on the ascension. I think she's a very clean fighter. I think she stays at distance very well. She's very disciplined. Now, Bruno Silva goes and gets some takes down and dominates. I think she's got a great chance. But Cavalcanti's a really strong, big bantamweight in there. She's 4-0 in the UFC, all decision wins, no finishes. So again, I think she has better cardio than Bruno Silva. I think she gasses out. I think like easily Cavalcanti wins the third round. She can easily win the first round. Bruno Silva's a slow starter. She has to probably get that takedown and get that finish for her to really rebound here. It's been quite a while since she's got a win again. And then again, who has she even beat? Nobody. Everybody that she's really fought, she's lost to. Yeah, so I think I picked Bruno Silva in that Pennington fight. We faded her ever since, and it's been nice. And this is another spot I'm just fading her again. I think Cavalcanti's kind of pretty talented. I'd like to see her against some higher level in the women's bantamweight divisions. I don't know what matchups I can really be made. I haven't like sat there, speculated, talked about it in a while, but I do think she's the real deal. I do think she's very strong. I do think she's very talented. And I think she's hungrier than Bruno Silva. Like I said, once you lose that title fight, it's like you got to go rebound and you got to climb your way back up. And there's a reason you didn't get it. And it's sometimes it's it just go unravel really fast. So got Cavalcanti here. Next up, men's bantamweight bout, Adrian Yanez, 17-6 versus Christian Quinones, 18-5. Both guys coming off a loss, 5'7" versus 5'8". 70-inch reach versus 2-inch leg advantage for Quinones here, and Adrian Yanez is the favorite. Very talented prospect, but very very much quit and got finished multiple times in fights. And Quinones, really struggles with grappling, which Yanez isn't going to do. He's a boxer by trade. He's going to sit in there, throw bombs. So if he can't hit those, it's going to be a long day, and he's probably going to tap out second, third round, which is kind of a Adrian Yanez thing. I'll say this, I think Christian Quinones is going to come in there pretty strong. I think this is his make or break spot. I do think Yanez is more talented. I do think he has a better stand-up game. He's probably definitely better on the boxing, but there's no way I'm going to pick him in a close fight against somebody that might be hungrier. And it's called the Problema. So I think he's going to try and bring a Problema to Yanez. I think you can just really look at that Jonathan Martinez fight as something that if you really wanted to kind of pick up, be better at striking than Adrian Yanez, you just pick apart those legs. I think if you see Quinones do that, it's going to be an easy win. I think he can get a second, third round finish. He's been in there against, that was, So his one win is against Vinici Salvador, who's no longer even in here. Thomas Kelly, Davy Grant split decision, you know what I mean? So Davy Grant's more of like a boxer. He'll throw some leg kicks here and there, but I really do think Christian Quinones gets the win here. I think he gets the upset. I think he's good value. This should definitely be more of a pick'em. Maybe like just because it's split decision against Marcos, who's highly rated, they're thinking he's better than he is. I just seen too much quit from Yanez to actually believe in him and want to pick him. We're going to go Quinones here for the upset, and I think he can get it done by second or third round finish. Next up, featherweight bout, Haider Aimil, 11-1, coming off a loss to facing Jamal Emmers, 21-8, coming off a win, 5'9" versus 5'10". 4-inch reach advantage for Emmers, 2 inches on the leg. And, I think Haider Aimil had a 1-minute finish from Jose Delgado, and Jamal Emmers is 36, 4-4 in the UFC. Last win against Gabriel Miranda. Losses and Bazooka, losses to Jenkins and Luander and Sabatini before that. It's just like, who has Emmers really beat? I don't think anybody that's got a good stand-up game, right? Not recently. I think Haider Aimil, I guess he'll win by decision. I can't see Jamal Emmers really getting finished like that, but I mean, he has been finished, so I think it kind of, you can see like something like the Nate Luander fight where he just comes in there, blitzkriegs him, catches him on the chin, and he just goes down. 36 years old. Aimil's still he's 35 himself, but he's more fresh. He didn't take an absolute beating. He took a knee to ground strikes. It was something he kind of got caught with. And 30 seconds in the office and you come back in half a year. So I think Haider Aimil is good, is nice here as well. Always like him as an underdog in a way. He always pretty much, he's a favorite here. So I do think he probably wins either later or by decision. I would like Haider Aimil by 3/decision, one of my favorite all-round prop bets. It's just that I think Jamal Emmers is very good and patient, and he will be a lot more closely contested, but I think as the night goes on, you'll see Hyder Amil do more damage and just inflict more, control of the fight that way. I'm a big Hyder Amil fan. I think I actually lost against him on Delgado too, so Delgado put me on one. But that being said, I do think he rebounds here nicely against Jamal Emmers, who, again, like I said, beat Gabriel Miranda. I remember that fight, and I mean Miranda just ain't throwing no hands. So Hyder Amil's gonna throw hands. It should be a lot closer, and that's where I'm going there. Next up, middleweight bout. Christian Leroy Duncan, 12-2, coming off a win versus Marco Tulio Silva, 14-1, coming off a win. 2-inch height advantage, 4.5-inch on the reach, 1 inch on the leg for Leroy Duncan against Marco Tulio, coming off a KO win. Who was that against? Freaking starched him. I gotta go look this up. But yeah, Duncan's 2 losses to RoboCop and somebody else. He beat Trayshawn Gore second round, just straight right. Also finishes against Pateria before that. And Leroy Duncan had losses to RoboCop and Petrosian, or his 2 blemishes in the UFC. And I kind of feel like he struggles with these guys that also can dance at distance. Like, he's a little boring sometimes. Duncan only gets finishes by him, somebody running into him, like that Eric Anders fight. He just kind of ran into that elbow in a way. When he wasn't really threatened. If you look before that, the Puliaev fight, not very exciting. Hibero, Tulaloon, guys that are definitely just going forward and getting hit have negative striking defense, and I think Tulio is naturally kind of a kickboxer by trade and has great distance management, has great timing, and I think he's going to piece up. I mean, if you could see RoboCop beating Leroy Duncan, who I had Leroy Duncan that day too, I think Tulio absolutely gets the better of him. I think Tulio, third round, but I don't think he finishes him. I think Tulio by decision is the move here. I just think the small octagon, they're just going to stay active for 15 minutes. I can't imagine either one of these gentlemen getting finished. If it is, maybe it is Tulio. I just think Duncan is just so patient and kind of boring in a way, but I've always been a fan of him. I've tried not to dog him too much for his style at times because it has been a little bit more boring, especially in this low-level octagon, right? I think that Puliev fight was fight night. Fight night Hibero. I mean, it's it's back and forth with this guy. It's hard to tell. It's hard to get a good judgment on there. And I just think Tulio has just been less blemishable. What's his one loss is the Alexander Silva TKO many years ago. He's been on a run, and I think he's very strong in the stand-up game. Though, watch that Trayshawn Gore fight, man. His strikes are so clean. So, I think he'll be able to attack from the outside, wear down Leroy Duncan, and just get the better of him over 15 minutes. Marco Tulio by decision, baby. Next up, bantamweight bout here. Ricky Simone versus Ione Barsalos. Simone, 22-6, coming off a win. Barsalos, 20-5, coming off a win. 69-inch versus 67. Very close matchup here in the metrics. And this one could go either way. Barsalos, I think, a little bit older, 38. And last 3 wins there against Quinones, who we talked about before that. Talbot and Garbrandt, recent wins. And Ricky Simone, a couple nice wins, been on a good little run here. Basharat and Smotherman. Good losses, Agent Will, Mario Batista, Yang Sedong, and Vinicius Oliveira. And I just think Simone's got it here. I just think he's a little bit more well-rounded fighter. I think he's got a little bit more stand-up experience and explosiveness. And Barcelos has to take people down, has to kind of win in the ground game, and I just think Ricky Simone is pretty dang good on the ground game to negate that. If you watch his fights there, and he's pretty strong, can do some damage here. Is he gonna finish? I don't know. I got Ricky Simone here. Talking about finishes is kind of egregious. Barcelos has only been finished twice in his career, and one was by Umar. So that being said, it's more likely that this fight goes to decision one way or the other. That being said, it could be very close. It depends on takedowns, controls, damage. I do like Ricky there. I think he does have a chance to maybe even catch Ione in a guillotine, something on the front choke. Even a mounted guillotine, something like that. I think he could, get him in a bad spot, something similar to Marab. I like Ricky Simone. I think he's got the finish upside. I think Barsalos kind of has to hold him on the cage, win 15 minutes, take him down, do some damage. Who does have pretty good, strong, top game ground and pound, but nothing that I think Ricky Simone is fearful of, that he hasn't experienced, trained with, and have pretty much experience in the octagon. So I'm on Ricky Simone here, and yeah, let's go, baby. Some spicy fights here at the end of the night here. Lightweight bout: Chris Padilla versus Ismael Bonfim. Chris Padilla 16-6, coming off a win, versus Bonfim 20-5, coming off a loss. 5'9" versus 5'8". Lightweight bout, 2.5 inches on the reach, 4 inch on the legs here. And man, I was on the Bonfim bandwagon, and I don't think it has any wheels left for me. I got Chris Padilla here. I think Chris Padilla is a dog. I think he's so freaking tough, dude. I think he's huge, kind of, for the Division 2. I think he's pretty dang athletic, man. I can't see Bonfim. I think bro, is Bonfim really going to be better on the feet than Chris Padilla? I don't know, man. I don't think Chris Padilla really gets out there to get hit the way that, like, Bonfim's wins have, which is McKinney and Vince Pichel. I think Padilla is going to put it on him. If you watch those last two fights, I think one was a split decision on Jai Herbert. We got very fortunate there. But, I mean, otherwise, he's doing massive damage here. Bonfim's been stopped by the doctor a couple times, and I could just see him getting finished here. Some TKO, not a good look. His brother's on the card. I thought he was the better Bonfim at the beginning, and I just think the lightweight division is full of killers, bro. Some way the guy's got to get to featherweight. You know what I mean? He just maybe doesn't want to. The lightweight division is just full of killers, and Chris Padilla is an absolute killer, bro. He's an absolute dog, and I just think he gets the win here. I think he's gonna get a, second, third round finish on Bonfim there. I just think I think the first round he just inflicts a lot of damage. Second round, I think he might get it done. He might be able to survive. But, yeah, I like Chris Padilla here on the betting line upset. It's just one of those spots where it's just I don't like it for Bonfim. There's some guys I like him against, and there's some guys I don't like him against, and this is one of those spots. Yeah, I'm a big Chris Padilla fan, and he paid off in that Jai Herbert fight for me. So I always got to give a little love and loyalty when the guys pay off for me like that. Next up, welterweight bout. Muslim Salikov versus Urus Medic. Salikov 22-5, coming off the win, knockout against Carlos Leal. Medic 11-3, coming off the win. Who did Medic beat last? Gilbert Urbina, first round finish. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I've been against Salikov, and he's busted me a few times. Does he do it here again? Very possibly. Medic is very hittable. We don't have a lot to say. I mean, this fight doesn't seem like it's gonna last long, right? I don't know. One of these guys is getting served, and like I said, it might well as be Salikov's time. But again, if Uros Medic is just gonna sit there and run in like he did against Soriano, he's gonna get absolutely mummy dusted, because this guy Salikov has the freaking he's got the kung fu kiss, man. He just is a very, very good fighter, man. He's very good spatial awareness. He's very good at reading the opponent, and I'm not necessarily sure Medic is that creative. I think he's very blunt. I think he's very powerful. I think he's very explosive, but I don't know if he's as creative as Salikov to find the angles and not stand there for a minute trying to read the opponent. And you've seen Salikov come in there and absolutely mummy dust guys with crazy stuff, one-hit KOs like it's nothing. So, I don't know, man. I'm on the Salikov sauce. What I'm probably going to end up doing here is I'm going to pick Medic and then bet Salikov and the under at some point. I do think there's a good amount of underdogs that pay off compared to last week, where there might have been one or two that paid off. This week, I think there's a lot more that have the possibility to pay off. I think Pennington to start, and then I think Quinones and Padilla for sure, Salikov. There's at least like 5 that I think have a really good chance. And actually, that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to put those 5 in there, and then whatever else happens after that, I'll do some other little sprinkles here and there, third rounds. But I think I'm going to also just take a underdog money line and maybe throw in my couple favorites like that I super duper like, Tulio and stuff like that. So And, so this being said, I like Salikov here. I do think he has a chance to win. I do think Medic, I do think this fight ends by serving at some point, first round, second round. I mean, it's hard to think this fight gets out of the first round with the way these guys play defense with their faces and blocking punches. So, yeah, if it goes later, huge advantage for Salikov. I think Medic has to get him out there 1-2 because the longer it goes, I just kind of think um, it's just better for Salikov. So, Salikov early, Salikov late. If Medic wins, he wins early. I think somebody gets served here, but I'm going picking Medic. Medic is the pick. Pick is Medic. Flyweight bout. Next up, co-main event. Matt Schnellington, 17-9-1 no contest against Joseph Morales, 14-2. Both guys coming off a win. 2-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage for Schnellington. And yeah, I guess this is Morales all day. Morales by sub. Schnell was retired. They brought him back for Jimmy Flick fight. Unretired. He's here again against Morales. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's happening here. I can't really be going with Matt Schnell here. I said I like a lot of underdogs, and maybe he'd get it done here too. Maybe he's the one I'm sleeping on. But yeah, I just think Matthew Christopher Snell has just been finished 8 times, 9 losses, 7-7, finished by ground and pound, finished by punches, finished by submission. So which way Morales wants to. I think he gets a submission, really works it, and yeah, that's my pick. Morales by submission. Get it done, son. And we'll go into the main event here, which could be my last guy I might actually throw in this underdog parlay. We got welterweight main event, Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. Bonfim 18-1 coming off a win, standing 6'1". Randy Brown 20-6 coming off a win, standing 6'3". Bonfim's one loss came to Nicholas Dalby, second round finish, almost 2 years ago at this point. Actually, today, as I record this, 2 years ago today, he got finished. Wins against Lusa, Chaos Williams, and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Randy Brown coming in there, 20-6. Win over Nicholas Dalby, finish. Brian Battle loss. Beat Zazekio, beat Salikov, beat Wellington Terma, lost to JDM before that. That Brian Battle loss was to bully weight, bully Battle, weighing about 4 pounds more, kind of holding him against the fence. Still very close fight here. Yeah, I'm on Randy Brown here. I'm on Bonfim. I don't trust Bonfim late. I don't trust his gas tank, just like his brother. I don't trust him, especially in a main event 3-4-5 where Randy Brown. I think like I said, the one time I saw Bonfim lose to Dalby, he was winning the first round too. He must have been minus 900 on the books. Dalby came back, hit him, finished him. It was over quick. I couldn't believe he got put away that way. And I just think Randy Brown's eventually going to find that in the fight. If this was a 3-round fight, I think Bonfim has more of a chance. Gabriel. I just think as a 5-round fight, like, come on, man. Randy Brown has to be just the more experienced fighter, right? Bonfim has 6 fights in the UFC, which, damn, bro, he's been hella active. I think I've watched almost all of them except for the Contender Series. I remember it's one of them, started watching that UFC 283 card. I definitely remember both of their finishes on that card. It was a great card from Brazil. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of them. It doesn't seem like he's fought 6 times, 5-1. I probably got a losing record picking against him just because of that Dalby fight. But I think Randy Brown's got a chance here. I'm picking Randy Brown again. I think at this point Randy Brown's just got that dog in him, bro. I just think he's pissed off too from that Brian Battle loss, man. I don't know. I got Randy Brown on a revenge tour. I think he can find a finish round 3 maybe. Round 4 definitely, and if it goes 5, I just think Randy Brown. You'll just see him piecing him up and staying from the outside. I think he's just a more technical striker. He's got the reach advantage. He's got the leg advantage. I think he's got the damage advantage. I think he's got a experience advantage, right? I mean, 20 UFC fights. So let's go Randy Brown, baby. I'm going to do a quick little recap for everybody. And then I'm going to actually go place my round robin right now. Just get it out of the way. First fight, Robert Valentin. Second fight, Daniel Marcos. Tisha Pennington. We got Hokit. We got Cavalcanti. We got Christian Quinones. We got Hyder Amil. We got Marco Tulio. Ricky Simone. Chris Padilla. We got Uros, Medic, Joseph, Morales, and Randy Brown. Thank you guys for always watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave your fight predictions in the comment section. If you get 100% right, I'll give you $100. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you made it this far. I really appreciate bringing to you these videos, bringing to you high-level prize fighting, with the integrity and, unbiasedness as I can, even as I am a fan as that. I try and bring a little bit of what I've seen and what I've experienced and some patterns you see over time in certain kind of stylistic matchups. So, I love these things, and I just continue to do them for you and myself, and I continue to watch the UFC and support them despite things going not the best at all times, and I think that should be said for a lot of people. So, stay blessed out there, stay strong, stay healthy, take care of yourselves and your friends and your family, man. Peace and love, everybody.